Story 1. Am I the a-hole for pouring my husband's sweet tea down the drain? So, it's been a few days since my original post. Everyone was so kind, helpful, and supportive. I received so many messages, and I want to thank each one of you for them. They meant more to me than you know. Well, I've left my husband, and it really wasn't over this one incident, but really a buildup of many. Before I even made the post, I wasn't completely blind to what he had been doing in terms of control. As weird as it seems, sometimes I just forget I'm an adult and I don't have to just say yes sir and listen to any mans that's older than me. I'm an adult now. I make my own rules. I feel sick saying this, but I realize I've been viewing him as a parental figure and not a partner. It kind of makes my stomach twist to even type that, but that is what it is. I don't really want to analyze it right now. It's too gross. I'm honestly going through a really tough grieving time right now. I feel like such a failure. What's worse is that he does not care in the least. When I called him to tell him I was leaving, he said, "Okay, let me know when you want to grab your stuff. We can have you moved out ASAP." And that was it. That was all he said before he hung up the phone. I'm really hurting. I love him so much, and I think part of me just wanted to see if he was willing to fight for me and apologize. He was not, so that's that. But although I'm hurting, I feel free. My mom has welcomed me back. She's so happy I'm divorcing him. I got together with my friends who he wouldn't let me see. I watched TV shows he told me were too childish, and I've been wearing ugly sweatpants and oversized shirts that he always said made me look like a man. So thank you, all of you. I got a wake-up call I desperately needed. I don't even want to be a housewife. I never wanted that for me. No hate on anyone who does. Honestly, guys, it was hard and lonely work. I'm going to get my RN, and then. Well, we kind of missed the main story to this. I didn't get that in my script, but what I do see is a person realizing that they have value as a human being and deserve to be treated as such. And I'm thrilled to see that. No one deserves to be treated the way that this guy was apparently treating her. And also, don't feel like a failure when this happens, folks, because it happens to so many people, and it's because people like this are good at manipulating and or controlling other people. It's what they do. And they just get you tied in with all of your emotions and good feelings. They know how to control people. It's like feeling bad if you lost a tennis match against Andre Agassi. Does anyone still know who Andre Agassi is? He's big in tennis when I was younger. But you shouldn't feel bad about trusting and loving someone. That's not a failure on your part. It is 100% a failure on their part. And being able to realize that and overcome what they've done to you and leave them and live your life just makes you a success. Story 2. I don't care if he needs emergency surgery. My daughter is more important. So this just happened last night, Friday the 13th. I had been having some pretty bad abdominal pain since the 12th. Well, yesterday I went to a local clinic and found out I had appendicitis. The clinic called an ambulance, and I was transported to the big hospital. When I got there, they took me to a room, had me stripped buck naked, and run me to the OR. As we were moving through the ER, this Karen stopped us and asked why I was being rushed before her daughter since they had been here longer. The nurse told her that I was being rushed for emergency surgery. She said, "I don't care if my daughter's in pain and he needs to wait his turn." The nurse said, "Ma'am, your daughter has a sprained ankle and that this gentleman could die." She reluctantly moved out of the way when she saw a couple police officers start walking toward her. Well, the surgery went great and I didn't die. Was released at 12 this afternoon. Edit. Holy crap, didn't expect this to blow up like it did. Thanks for all the well wishes. Why are there people who are interfering with medical professionals who are trying to save people's lives? Why are these people doing this so often? Oh, but my kid's here first. You're not in line to buy tickets for something. You're interfering with surgery. You're interfering with a life-threatening situation. Literally, you standing there delaying things could be the catalyst for a human being dying. And if they do die, I hope you go to jail because you're a bad, bad person. And I don't want you in society killing other people. Story 3. Entitled mom says she will sue me for stealing her baby's art. Entitled aunt threatens to sue me over stealing her baby's art. Oh my god, I cannot believe this just happened. I can't post pictures, but I'm going to post the conversation. This thread doesn't allow pictures. Below. I hate my life, oh God. This is a text exchange that I copied and pasted right from my text. I'm 17 and entitled cousin is 19, both female. Me. Post a picture of my drawing on Instagram, then it automatically gets reported for fraud. The following exchange then happens. Entitled cousin. Are you effing serious? Me. What? You know that I also draw, so do thousands of other people, entitled cousin. You can only paint. I'm the only person in the family that can draw, animate, or digital. What? Okay, listen, this is getting stupid. You got what you wanted and I deleted my TikTok. You're not just going to attack me because of the fact that I also draw. I'm going to tell my mom because she doesn't think you should be an artist either. My mom says that I'm the only artist in the family. I'm going to tell my mom. You are 19. Entitled aunt then text me. Peyton, this is entitled aunt. I think this is really getting out of hand. Entitled cousin is really upset. I won't tell your parents as long as you agree to not sell that drawing. You're going to ruin entitled cousin's chances of becoming an artist. Please, just take into consideration she is older than you. Therefore, she should choose to be an artist before you did. You will always have to be in second place. I'm sorry, that's just how social conduct works. All right, entitled aunt. What's sad is I know that entitled cousin actually had to have her mom text me because she doesn't know what half of those words mean. Well, this has been a nice conversation. I shall be telling my parents about this interaction. Then it went quiet for a bit. Then I got this last text that I was not expecting. Peyton, you cannot sell your art of animated characters because that's what entitled cousin does. How dare you draw Stitch? You cannot make drawings of entitled character's favorite Disney character and sell it because if you sell it, you will have to give the money to entitled cousin. You do not have the right to take business away from my child because she deserves it more than you. Entitled aunt, I made a poster. I can sell it if I want to, and no, I do not have to give the money to your daughter. I shall be selling the drawing for $20-ish, and you won't see a cent. Please leave me alone. I will be telling my parents about this. I will sue you because that money belongs to my child, not you because you stole her art. I stopped responding. What the hell? The entitlement is real. God help me. Just FYI, I don't actually plan on selling this art. If you do, I will offer you something else because of Disney's rights. Update. I told my cousin about the fact that so many people wanted to buy it and she freaked out. I just got this message. Did you sell it? Because you owe me the money from it. You are so spoiled. You do not deserve to have the money. You cannot even draw. God, you're such a pain because you have absolutely no right to take that money away from me. She blocked me. What the hell? Like, if this is actually real, entitled cousin, you're terrible and you are so absolutely insecure about art that I doubt you're very good. If you're so focused on other people, like, the insecurity has to show, like, oh my gosh, get over yourself. And to the aunt, you're an adult. I mean, both of them are adults, but entitled aunt, you're an older adult. What is wrong with you? What have you told your daughter to let her become this gross entitled person? You're not a very good parent. You're not a very good person, really. You're a terrible aunt. Holy cow. Take a little time to self-reflect on everything. This is ridiculous. How dare you draw Stitch? That belongs to my daughter, Cindy Disney. Story 4. Mother thinks she has a rights to my child and treats him like a doll to show off. My mother is the entitled parent in this story. She and I have never had a great relationship. She resents me growing up because she was a single mom and never wanted children. She would never spend time or engage with me and would instead throw money at me to show she cared. Now I'm grown up and independent and just had a baby of my own and she feels entitled to my son. I've made certain decisions about his upbringing that I'm trying to adhere to. Nothing crazy, just trying to avoid using unnecessary products on him. No baby lotion, no diaper cream unless he gets a rash, homemade baby food, etc. He's now 4 months old and it has been working well for us. My mother's very insistent that she gets to see him 2 to 3 times a week. She refers to herself as Glamma, a mix of glam and grandma, and has already procured a few items that say best grandma ever. I've been very hesitant to let her watch him for extended periods of time. I didn't have the best upbringing and honestly believe she would not do what's best for my son. She's always been a very materialistic person and extremely concerned about the image she presents to other people. So I get anxious thinking of him staying overnight at her place. She keeps asking for him to spend the night, saying she's doing it for me because I need the sleep, but I know it's because she likes the novelty of having a baby around. She first started asking for him to spend the night at her place when he was 2 weeks old. I've said no every time. When she was first allowed to babysit him, I had to set ground rules because she kept trying to plan parties whenever he was over. She was trying to show him off to all her friends and neighbors. The thing is, he's a baby. Large groups of people are not good for babies because their immune systems are weak, and our city has had a number of measles outbreaks. I had to tell her repeatedly that she couldn't be inviting groups of strangers over to pass him around like a doll. She finally agreed, and I let him spend a few hours at her place. Still, she kept asking for him to spend the night. She also calls me every day asking when he was going to visit her again and offering to take him off my hands for a few days like he's an inconvenience. My husband had to go to British Columbia for a wedding, so I was alone for a week. It was hard. 6 days into it, I was at the end of my rope. I'd barely had any adult interaction and had only slept 3 hours a day. So I call my mother up and ask her if my son and I can spend the night at her place. I need to sleep, but didn't want to leave him there without me all night. I figured this would be a good compromise. I would be available if anything went wrong, and she would get off my back about him staying over. She had been nagging me for weeks about how I should just give him pablum and he would sleep through the night. He was a preemie, and our pediatrician said to wait for solids, but she thought she knew best. I had to constantly tell her to not feed him anything but his milk. The night came where I was supposed to go to her place. I get there, and there are 15 other people over. Turns out she was having a dinner party. Whether or not she had this arranged before I asked to come over, I don't know. I told her my son goes to bed at 8 and you really need to sleep. She assured me everyone would be gone by 9. That didn't happen. They ended up starting a bonfire, and she's trying to get me to sit by the fire with my son. I tell her I don't want him around all that smoke. He's only 4 months old, so he needs to stay in the house. Besides, it's 8 and he needs to go to bed. She tells me I'm being unreasonable and should just let him sleep by the fire. I put my foot down and say no. He ends up in his bassinet, and I'm waiting for the party to be done so I can sleep. Because my husband has been gone and I've been dealing with the baby on my own for 6 days, my sleep schedule has been completely out of whack. I was hoping to take some sleeping pills to get a good night's rest since she was going to watch him through the night. So now, I'm waiting for her to come in and take over for me. 10 rolls around and she pops in for a drink before heading back out. I ask her again how late the party is going to go since I am desperate to get some sleep. She tells me it should be over soon, again, and that she can't stay in the house because she has guests over and she needs to entertain them. 10:45 comes, and she's still at the bonfire. Again, she comes in to grab something and she sees that I'm still up. She tells me I'm being silly and should just go to sleep. She doesn't seem to understand that I have insomnia and need to take sleeping pills and can't do that until someone else can watch my son. The someone being her since I asked and she offered. I reminded her that I was there to sleep and was waiting on her. She then tells me I'm being ungrateful since she had this party planned and she couldn't ask everyone to leave. She said I should just go to sleep and not worry about my son so much. I tell her she can't be taking care of him if she's outside and wouldn't even hear him if he woke up. She said I should stop stressing, that people will leave soon, and went back to her party. 11:30 comes around and I'm so tired I start crying. I can't sleep and I wasn't getting the help I asked for, so I decided to just take my son and go home. If I was doing it on my own, I'd rather be around my own things and in my own bed. I packed him up and sent her a text saying she was too preoccupied to watch my son and that we were going home. She didn't even see my message until 12:30. How well could she have watched him if she didn't leave her bonfire until then? I ended up getting a string of messages saying it was unfair of me to take him away, that I shouldn't say she didn't care because she spent $700 on him that day, so obviously she cared. I never mentioned anything about caring or not caring. She said I was being ungrateful because if I had stayed, I would have been able to sleep in the morning while she took care of him. I don't trust for 1 minute that she would have done right by him. Her guests were taking up all of her time. A week goes by and she asks twice again if he can stay the night at her place. I have no faith in her watching him overnight, but I agree to let her watch him during the day Saturday. She says she's going to sleep in, but she should pick him up around 9 or 10. 11 rolls around and I haven't heard from her. I give her a call and she says she just got home and that they can't pick him up until later, so I should just drop him off at her place. She was supposed to pick him up because she lives 30 minutes out of town on an acreage, but drives right past our house when she goes shopping. I tried telling her it's too inconvenient to drive him to her place. I'll just keep him with me. But she wears me down and I eventually make the drive out to her place. I'll tell her I'll pick him up in the evening around 9:30 or 10. At 5, I get a text from her saying she's decided to have a bonfire and has invited a bunch of people over. Seriously, the exact same thing as the week before, and tell her again I don't want my son sitting out in the hot sun or hanging around the smoke from the fire. I tell her I don't care what she does, but I will be picking my son up if she can't watch him. She tells me she is watching him and that I don't need to take him. I went to get him, and I was peed off. I've asked her time and again to not have him around groups of strangers, but to have him around smoke, and she won't listen. I didn't even want to send him to her place, but she just kept nagging that she could watch him. So I planned my day around him being with her, and then had to cancel a D&D game in the middle of the session because she couldn't respect my wishes. When I picked him up, she started yelling that I'm being ungrateful. She was doing a great job watching him, and how much all her guests are loving him. She tells me that I'm unreasonable and rude. To top it off, she tells me that she's going to tell my Baba about my behavior and that Baba will give me a talking to. What the F, woman? I should have known better than to try and trust her. She insists on babysitting my dog every weekend. He has pancreatitis and can't eat fatty food. He gets extremely sick. But she ignores me when I say this and continues to feed him bacon because he likes it. If she can't take care of a dog, how the hell did I think she could take care of a child? And the worst is how she keeps acting like a victim, saying I'm treating her unfairly. Man, I really needed to get this off my chest. Okay, I know we've read this one before, but I'm about to go on vacation and we needed it for the script, so here we go. I'm just gonna say again, I don't know exactly what I said last time actually, but I'm gonna say this time, I would not have contact with this person. If this was my mom acting like this, I would say, until you can learn to actually respect me and truly care about your grandchild, I don't want to see you anymore. Because the disrespect going on here is wild. This is so gross. And I know that it's your mom and you want to love her and everything like that, but this does not sound like a great person. This sounds like a completely self-absorbed person who needs to learn to respect and care about others because she very clearly does not. And, it just makes me sad. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.